Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm really well. It's lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too. It's been a while since I've seen your lovely face, so it's great to see you and see how well you're doing. It's been a great year for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. So enjoyed it. My word of the year was move, Lorraine, and I've
Right.
made lots of moves. Yeah, so I decided one, I was going to move some of the rooms that I was in. And I made a kind of really conscious decision at the end of last year to work with business owners who were further ahead than me because I keep getting myself into this place where I'm always was always the furthest ahead in the room. And it's not me, everyone knows I am the person who shows up, does the work consistently. But I knew I needed to do something different. So I put myself in different places. I live in Glasgow, as you know, Lorraine, and lots of the things are happening down south. So I put myself on the flights. It costs me lots more money and takes me lots more time to get to the events. But I've been just going. Whereas before I would have said, that's too far. I'm going to the strategy days. I'm in a great mini mind with some great business owners, and I've been going. It takes me so much longer than everyone else, but I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do for the business. So split my business into the two parts, which we'll talk much more about that later, I'm sure. Yeah, that was a move that I was very nervous about making, but has worked really well.
So let's start right from the beginning then, shall we? For those people who, I mean, obviously our networks overlap a lot because that's how I met you through online networking. But for anyone who doesn't know you already, Laurie, like what do you do? Can you distill your wonderful business down into a short kind of explanation?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a career and LinkedIn mentor. Started off working in the career space. I've actually been doing that for 10 years between employability and career mentoring and helping folks to get jobs that they love and make the salary that they deserve. That's something I've been doing as my own business for 6 years now. And over time, that's evolved, obviously. And I now work much more with mid and senior level folks because that's my sweet spot. That's where I really excel at getting those women that are in probably midlife-ish, Lorraine, and however you want to describe that. It's not that we don't have options and it's not that we don't have experience. It's almost that we have so much stuff and it needs to be distilled down to make it easily understandable and palatable for an employer. And that's where I come in, is really helping them to sell those skills. And through business, actually, I met you through our LinkedIn networks, promoting my own business and promoting my own brand on LinkedIn. I started to have other business owners constantly asking me whenever I met them, oh, how do I get good at LinkedIn? You're really good at LinkedIn. I did some ghostwriting this year and it was, can you make my LinkedIn look like yours? Obviously not because we have a different voice, but so yeah, but there's that thing about using LinkedIn for personal brand, even though you might feel the ick. And now I teach a lot more business owners how to do that too. Just about to start a new group program on Monday, showing a group of great business owners how to use LinkedIn to get what I've got, which is get tagged all the time. And I say that because anytime anyone in my world asks for a CV or career help, my name comes up. And I've done that by continually doing the work and showing what I do, who I am, and keeping popping up in front of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is so interesting. I think it's so important these days to as a business owner and from many different types of people at different stages of their career. I always recommend people investing time and energy in developing their personal brand because yes, it takes time and energy to get it set up and to be consistent, as you say. But it just the benefits are just you just reap them for years and years afterwards. I mean, that's been the case for me anyway. And yeah, you and I kind of started our LinkedIn journeys around about the same time, I think.
Yeah.
About 5-6 years ago now. And is that right for you? Would you say?
Yeah, I used it a little bit as an employee, occasionally. I always kind of, I got it and I kind of went, oh, this is going to be useful. And for me, it was so obvious. Like, where are my people who want to move jobs, who are professionals hanging out on LinkedIn? The same as your clientele, folk who want to get better at speaking, English like a native. They're on LinkedIn because they're using it for their careers and their businesses.
Exactly. And right, so how did you get into your field then? So you used to work for companies before you started your own business and you were dealing a lot with employability. And I remember you telling me this in the past. You knew that you had this great skill set and you wanted to work for yourself doing it. So how did you get into employability in the first place, and how has that evolved over the last several years?
Yeah, it was so funny. So I always worked in sales, and I was a retail manager for many years. Before that, I worked in travel and I managed teams there, and I loved it. And then I came home in 2008, worked back in retail, and sold lots of things from knickers to dresses to shoes to jewellery latterly. And I wanted out of retail because the hours were punishing. I was in out of town shopping centre for a while, so a few midnight finishes too many, and I just thought, it's not, I can't do this till I'm 60. It's physically demanding. You're in the shop early, you're out of it late. It was hard work. I loved the people, I loved the selling, I loved the product. I wasn't so great at visual merchandising, hate the audit and stock handling elements of it. So, that's just not my jam. So I was looking for a while and I was trying to get out, and I found it really, really hard. And I wish I'd had a me back then, because I spent 6 months of thinking, what can I do next? And if I'm honest, who will hire a me? Because I've got really great experience in sectors that people don't value. So travel and retail are not valued. People don't think this person must be really good, because you've always had quite a low paid travel, especially it's quite vocational. The money's not great usually. We do it because we love it, and retail's a little bit the same. So I worked for a while. I was in the wilderness. I had 6 months of trying to get recruiters to move me to another retail job. And then one day I was starting on a late, which I hated because I'm quite an early bird, and it was just like half the day gone, and then you had to work till late. And I was lying on my bed, scrolling through Indeed, and I saw this job, and it was under the sales category, but it was employability. And basically, you were selling folk the idea of working who hadn't, and selling employers the idea of hiring people who hadn't been working. And it was target driven and all of that, but it was involving people. And I thought, oh, that sounds absolutely the very thing. Got my interview, went for the job, and she did say, look, I have reticence here. You're going from selling a beautiful product to dealing with messy and complicated human beings in difficult situations. It's challenging. How do you feel? And I was like, bring it on. And from the very start, it was so hard. I remember being thrown in and the first client, I'm thinking, this person shouldn't be here. And it was so challenging, but also so rewarding, because you were taking people who hadn't worked for a variety of reasons for sometimes a long time, and you were building the confidence, letting them see that they could. A lot of the time, the barriers they presented with weren't the real barrier. It was something else. And you could actually get really under the skin of it. What's going on here? Getting them back into work, and just seeing how much that transformed things for them, their families. It was just incredible. And so I did that for 3.5 years. And then we were at risk of redundancy, ironically. I thought, I don't want to do this again, because I'd kind of felt like I'd really enjoyed it. I thought, this is my chance. I had a tiny bit of money from my redundancy, not a huge amount. I thought, this is a chance to just see if I can make this work. I think I could probably cobble something together and see how it goes. And as I say, that has just evolved. I started off doing more management stuff. When COVID hit, a very wise woman who's actually just about to join my programme, weird serendipity type way, said to me, what do people need right now? And I said, people need jobs. She's like, and you know how to get them jobs. So I got people jobs, and it was anyone and everyone at first, because it was, desperate times at the start of COVID. And as time's gone on, that's become more and more senior people, more and more professionals. And now it's a real mix of, people of all different industries. It doesn't matter the industry, very, very much at the higher level. And also those business owners, as I say, that know they need to be using LinkedIn, but maybe have some issues, preconceptions, anxieties around it, and need some help with the strategy and the content piece. And that's where we are now.
Wow. What a journey! You've gone sort of full circle. The one thing that really stuck out to me there in that story is that, seeing people develop their confidence when you show them that actually the thing that they've been really scared of for probably a long time, and seeing them come out of their shell, building that confidence and go for what they want, and realizing, actually, I can do this. That's an incredible feeling, isn't it? And I think you and I have that in common in our jobs as well. So yeah, it's great to see you on this trajectory over time. And I'm sure you're now working with people that you've known for years. And isn't that the way often? When you get along with someone and you admire them, you can often work with each other in various capacities over the years, can't you? And you help one another and empower one another. throughout that journey. I love that feeling. Great.
Yeah,
Lovely.
absolutely. It's so strange, but it's because you meet and you think that they're lovely, but I can't work with them because of what I do. And then what you do or what they need completely evolves, and suddenly there's a way to work together.
Yeah. And that's the thing about networking as well, I think. You might not be able to work together at that time, but you never know. They might recommend you in a room that you're not in, or you help them with a client. There's so many different ways you can help one another out. And that's why it's all about relationship building as well, because over time you just have to have someone in mind. And it's true on LinkedIn as it is in person. And when you've actually met someone physically, you kind of file their name away as, right, okay, well, Laurie does this. And then next time you speak to someone, you go, oh, you should speak to Laurie, or you should connect with Laurie on LinkedIn. And I think that's true networking, really, relationship building, and just see how you can help one another over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw in a recent post that you mentioned your B.O.L.D method. Can you tell us what that is and how it helps your clients?
Yeah, so I've been thinking for a while about, sort of distilling what I do down, Lorraine, because there's so many different bits to the whole career journey, and sometimes folk want to start at a different point and I have to sort of rein them back in. So I worked out what is that, and really B.O.L.D framework stands for build, own, land and distinguish when you're looking for work. So build is about foundations and getting sure on what you want to do. I'll give you an example. When they find out they're made redundant, they just apply for the same thing, right? And then sometimes I'll say to them, did you want to do that again? And they go, do I have a choice here? And you're like, oh, yeah, you've got a great payout. You've got some time. You could do anything you want. Obviously there's steps and within reason, and this market's very, very hard. Let's acknowledge that. But, so we have to build, we have to start with what we want and what we don't, get your non-negotiables. And it makes it so much less emotional. So if you say, here's what I'm going to do. And once you realise that you have the permission to do that. So a great example, I had a lady a few weeks ago, want to do this. I need to do it as a consultant because of the way I like to take my holidays. How would it be if you had an employer who would allow you to do that? And it's like, sorry, what? I do associate work and I just say, I'm off my holidays, thanks very much. But what if you had an employer when you went into an interview, you didn't say apologetically, could I possibly? You said, great, sounds fantastic. I work from Spain for 4 weeks in July, or whatever the condition is. That sounds so possible and so reasonable. Once the non-negotiables are ready and we know what they are, we're able to state them with confidence. I work a 4-day week, and it's a yes or a no, and both are fine. But we know what our non-negotiables are. It's like buying a house. You might not get them all the time, but what are they? We have to start with, what do you want? As well as what is your logical next step. So start with the build. Then we own, and this is the bit that women really struggle with, which is recognising their own achievements and articulating them, celebrating their impact and strengths. Particularly, lots of women will say, yeah, but that was mostly my team, or I did that with someone else. And I have to really draw them back to, that was you. You did that. And if you don't own it and we can't share it, no one can see it. Then we do land, which is about tailoring your job applications, using LinkedIn. And I did a great session a few weeks ago with Leanne Cooper, who's another career coach. And she made me laugh so much. She said, no one ever comes on wanting to write a LinkedIn post about their jobs. Like, that's not a thing. No one comes on going, whoopee, I can't wait to put a green banner up and write a flare post, but it works. So land the position by doing all the things that you need to do. And it's not just, sit and wait for jobs to pop up on job sites. There's LinkedIn, there's network, there's all these things that people don't want to do, and really tailoring those applications to show that you are the person. And then there's that distinguished piece, which is about building your credibility, growing your network, and really using your network and LinkedIn to establish yourself as that leader. It's about taking the next step and not waiting for things to wash over you. It's bold because we get to position in a particular way. And some people aren't ready to be bold, They're just like, no, I'll just shuffle into the same thing again, thanks. Even if I don't particularly like it, this is a chance to do something that it doesn't have to be radically different, and it usually isn't. There's just usually a couple of changes that probably make zero difference to the employer and a massive difference to the individual. And sometimes it's about asking for the salary, sometimes it's about asking for the flex or whatever it is that we want or need, and both are fine. So it's this is the framework which we work, and whether we articulate it on the sessions or not, we always start with, what do you want? what works for you,
Yeah.
what is most possible,
Absolutely.
what is most likely. Then let's make that really realistic, because we are where we are in the market, right? That's not your, and I often have to say, that's not your next move. That's your one after. And when people say, women particularly, they'll tell me, oh, I don't mind, I'm not bothered, I would quite happily move. And you'll say, right, how quickly do we need to have this job? Because if it's now, if it's tomorrow, we need to go for more of the same, so that they'll hire you, so that they'll see it. And I'll make that really clear. Then we can move. Then we can put that plan in place. Sometimes it's like, I need a job tomorrow. Financial pressure is right. Let's make that clear with a plan for later on. So it's all about foundations and building on that.
So let's take that scenario further here. How would you help someone in that kind of situation where he or she, probably she, right? You're working mostly with women, right?
Mostly women, yeah.
So mostly women, yeah. So she finds herself in a situation where she's been made redundant or she's been on maternity leave, for example. She knows she doesn't particularly want to do that job again, but she knows there's a greater likelihood of her getting a similar kind of job, with the intention, thanks to your advice, with the intention of making some moves over the coming years to get to where she wants to be. So it's that delicate balance, isn't it, between you've got the experience that allows you to get the job, but yet you don't really want to keep doing what you've done before. How do you help them to take those steps? Are there certain ways that you can kind of build your expertise, your skill set, and your experience bit by bit to put you in a really great position then in a couple of years, or in one or two job moves from there, so that, you know, you've got your eye on the prize and you know that you're going to get there. It just might take some time.
Yeah, brilliant. And the main thing to say there, Lane, is the eyes have to be on the prize. We have to know what we want, and it can change, and that's fine. So say, for example, and I hear this every day, I want to do something more fulfilled. You know, I work in a financial services organisation. I want to do something in a charity. And I work with lots of women in charity, at that third sector, where they're really doing fulfilling jobs. And it has its falls as well, of course. So they'll come to me and say, I want more fulfillment. I want to go and work for a charity. And you say, right, okay, that's totally fine. But at the moment, if you apply, you won't get that job because you're up against folk who are already in it. So here's a couple of things you could do. And this is just for example. You could do the work in your current organisation. So do your normal job and do the charity coordinator, organising who your charity of the year are, the anything to do with corporate social responsibility, running the drives, running the, any organisation around the charity in your own job, if that's at all possible, so that you get links to the partners, so you get to meet them, you make a great relationship, they ask you to their events, you start to really see and dig in, and you have the inside intel on what they're looking for. Then you can have a conversation that sounds like, I'd like to do more of this, and they can say, fantastic, we're actually looking for someone with your skills, and they can make that recommendation in time. That's the ideal scenario. Do it where you are. If it's that you want to sideways move, again, can you get involved in a project that involves someone who does that thing? Get much more inside intel, and then ask and make it obvious that you want to move in that direction, so you get that development in your current role. That's the dream. You get paid while you do this and you still do your job. If that's not possible because your boss is blocking it, or it's just not possible within the parameters of your job, the bit that no one wants to hear is you might have to do something extra. And I get it. I've just been on a call about a program I'm supporting at the minute, and everybody's got kids, extra jobs, life, right? You might have to also add in a committee role, or helping a small business out. For example, I would like to do, something involving marketing, say it's such a saturated market, Lorraine. So can you go to a small business owner, start their accounts from scratch, and then take those numbers and specific evidence of how you've taken something from this to this? That's your evidence. If you don't have evidence, you won't get hired right now. So you might have to offer yourself up and find a local network and say, I'm learning this. Can I do it for you for free for 3 to 6 months? Use your evidence, use your learnings. Learn as you go. It's difficult and deeply unsexy. We've done it. Yeah, here I am. I'm good at this thing. Oh, I must learn all these other things too. We have no choice. Mm-hmm. So go and learn that, do that, or put yourself on a committee if that's what you want to do. I want to organise events. Be the person who does that. Talk about the evidence of, I've organised this amount of events for this amount of people, raising this amount of money. Have that evidence. Or can you go on a board? And I bang on about this all the time. I was at a great event yesterday speaking, and they're looking for a board member. You, in 6 to 12 months, again, will have not only a great crowd of allies in your corner, but evidence to say, we've run these amount of events for this amount of people, and this is what happened. We've grown this from this to this. We've done this. Here's our plans for the future. You can become part of something. And I know this takes time, and people say, oh, I don't want to do all that. The reality is you need evidence. You need to have done the steps. And it's like going to the gym. You have to do the reps. So if you haven't got it, you have to have it.
100%. I was having this conversation the other day with someone. Everything worth having is the other side of a bit of discomfort, a bit of inconvenience. But so often now we avoid inconvenience. We try to stay comfortable at all times. And I think there's such a valuable skill that isn't taught in schools. And naturally, we're tending to lose it now. To be able to just sit with that, this isn't exactly what I want to do right at this second, but it's going to help me get to where I need to be. If you can do that in life, if you can do something that's not great, but for the benefit of your future self rather than for your current self, that is what's going to set you apart. To your point there, you were talking about, investing a little bit of time doing something now that will help you in future. I think a lot of people struggle with understanding that they can ask, they can try, they can put their name forward for things. And I think that's the O in your B.O.L.D method there, isn't it? It's like taking ownership of things. So often as women as well, we're not taught that we can speak up. It feels very uncomfortable for us. We often feel like we should just be quiet, especially in certain cultures. But actually, if we ask, oftentimes the worst that can happen is they say no, or not right now. And then you just keep trying. You keep trying different things.
Yeah, we struggle to do that. I was at this event yesterday, and she talked about that, putting your hand up, and just learning it. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? It's not the worst thing in the world. And I think that's the thing. It's that, let's just try it. Just give it a go. But you have to sort of give it time as well. And it is like networking, Laurie, you know this. You can't just, some people would turn up and say, I'm not getting anything out of it. And you're like, you've been twice. Like, really? You have to keep going.
And I think also, as well as, feeling like we can't put our hand up, also, everybody hates being bad at something, especially being bad at something in public. It's the worst. I think that's what holds a lot of people back from promoting themselves on things like LinkedIn as well. I mean, obviously, it's a bit scary, it's a bit uncomfortable, and a lot of people, it takes time to figure out your voice and your messaging, and you're doing it out in public, aren't you? So what would your advice be to people who are really keen to get into LinkedIn, knowing it's exactly what they need for their business and their career, but they're coming up against that barrier of, I just don't want to fail publicly?
Yeah, so this was something we talked about again yesterday. It was Women in Social Housing Scotland network I was at yesterday, and they talked a lot about data. And if you've only done 2 or 3 posts, you haven't got any data. But I was saying that I've got probably 350 posts from the last year, so I know what works, and I can then go and show my people, here's what works. Here's the ones that have done really well. Here's the ones that haven't. Business sales posts. So when you're promoting a product or service, always get less eyes than talking about your life, watching Strictly, how excited I am for Saturday night Strictly. That will always get more traction. And yes, I will absolutely be going there because it works. But the reason we do it is because sharing it, I think people forget and know that people don't know what to do on LinkedIn. So they think, I can't put in personal, so I'll just go really corporate and a bit dull and sound like everyone else. When you actually post some stuff about you as a human and your life, people really interact and they love that. That's what they talk about. And it was played out right next to me yesterday. The woman said in her lovely speech something about being from Bradford, right? And the first person who came over to lunch said, hi, I worked in Bradford too. Not talk to me about your organisation. We don't do that. We're human beings. It's how do we connect? That's how we interact as humans. So if I don't know where you live, where you've been, what you've done, I can't have these conversations. It's just all corporate automatron. I talk about my life in general. People know that I've moved house this year, sold a flat, moved in with a man and a dog totally unexpectedly because I talk about it. And I always say to people, if I had a boss, which obviously I don't, but I do work for people sometimes, they couldn't sack me for saying I have a dog. I don't write anything inflammatory or anything out there. I do share a little bit of myself, not because it's anything different or wildly exciting, just because that's how people interact with you, and people will use these things as a hook to talk to you. I remember having this conversation with a client. He was like, I can't put a LinkedIn post up. No, I'm not doing it. Really early on, probably a good 3-4 years ago. And she was brilliant. And I said to her, why did you choose me? And she was like, I knew you were a retail manager yourself. I knew you worked in travel. I knew you did luxury. And I was like, okay, how did you know all that? And she went, no. She was like, no, now you're gonna make me do it. And I was like, yeah, you knew it because I told you. And then she wrote the most incredible intro post. She got so much traction on it. She got hired off the back of it. And I was like, it's almost as if you tell people who you are, how you help, what you do, and what you can do for them, they see themselves and say, well, that's exactly what we need. And that's all I was creating. Like, by talking about what you've done, where you've come from, what you're doing, your people will find you. So on LinkedIn, people say to me, oh, but I don't do exciting things like you. I'll be honest, yes, I do have a really exciting social life. I do go out a lot. I am a social butterfly. I get all that. I am confident. But even if I wasn't, I'd still have to do the same things. And your people will be attracted to you and your story, and whatever things that you do, your people will relate. So it's still worth putting it out there. So it's about being human and knowing that some posts, lots of my posts don't go very far. And sometimes you write a really good post and you take a long time and you get like 3 likes. That's okay, because you don't know who's watching. And sometimes you sit there thinking, nothing's happening, no one's really engaging, I need to change up what I'm doing. And then I vividly remember being in the airport and I got this, I've noticed you, I've been following you for ages, I need a CV. And you think, people aren't always watching, but they're watching enough. And if you pop into their viewpoint enough times, they can't really ignore you. So when they need what you're offering, or when they know someone, or when someone has a conversation and says, I desperately need help with my English or help with my CV, they can't help but go, oh, hang on a minute, who was that woman I keep seeing on, like, and then what they remember is she always does X, or she wears this, or she's blonde, or she lives in Saudi, or she's Glaswegian. They'll remember a human thing.
Yes.
And they'll remember you. It's about, everyone thinks it's confidence. I need confidence to post. You don't. You need courage to post, and then just conviction to keep doing it. Because eventually, as long as you've got a bit of strategy and thought behind it, people will start to see it. And you might hear a bit of, you're always on this, or I get it all the time, you're always on social media. Oh, fantastic, my free content's working, brilliant, because I'm spending a hell of a lot of money on meta ads right now.
Yeah, if you're doing it right, you only need to spend a little bit of time each day doing it. Yeah. And then, but it looks to everyone like you're always on there, because LinkedIn shows you posts from 2-3 days before, even a week, even sometimes 3 weeks beforehand. Yeah. If people are looking at your stuff, it tells the algorithm to keep sending them more of your stuff, right?
Exactly.
So I took a bit of a hiatus from LinkedIn when I moved to Saudi Arabia, partly because I was so incredibly busy, and partly because I was navigating a transition where I started working for another company in this new culture where the messaging you put out, you've got to be very careful about what you say online. So I took a bit of a hiatus. When I came back to LinkedIn, it had changed a lot. I can really see a lot of impact of AI now. There seems to be a lot of the same kind of templates coming up. What do you think about the changes to LinkedIn because of AI?
Yeah, so I was on a call the other night for a membership, and someone said, it just doesn't work for me, that usual statement. And I said to her, I know why. And she was like, tell me why. And I said, because it's AI, you're using AI and I can see it. And she said the thing that everyone says, yeah, I just use it to help me. I'm not very good at getting words out. But I was like, but the tails are all through it. I can see it. It doesn't sound like you. And when I scroll through your posts, I have no sense of what people are missing with AI and with just copying and pasting from other platforms. I mean, I talk about this a lot in my programs, which is, if you copy and paste from Instagram, that's fine, as long as the posts stand up, that's cool. What's missing is the personal bit. So on Instagram, you've got your posts, fine. The great bit is your stories. So I get to know you. When you copy and paste, we've lost that. So with AI, we've lost the human. So what's missing is the why you. Nobody's a market of one. I don't know why I'm hiring you, why I'm buying from you, as opposed to another person selling the same service, because you haven't showed me. And this was this woman's thing. It was all very nice, but it was using the AI tells. So here's what they are in case you listen. It's not this, it's that. Look, the short sentences, the little type. I've always running out of breath because I've got a massively lot to say and I need a long sentence. When I use AI, which I do, I've paid for a closed chat GPT model and from a really talented content creator. I still have to prompt it. And I still take out the short sentences and make them longer. And I still add in little Laurieisms, like I always say, all the others, because it's a Scottish phrase, and I use it, and people do find it quite funny. It's like there's hundreds of work to go around and hundreds of things that happen. So use AI, but don't forget to show us why you. And that's the biggest thing with AI. It does all start to sound the same, because ChatGPT is a large language model, and it does do, it's not this, it's that. It gives us the M dashes, it gives us short sentences, it says, here's the truth, ... And if we'll use that, we all start to sound the same. So what you need to do, if you're going to use that, is one, edit it, and two, remember to, as part of your flow of posts, put in posts that are about you, that AI can't write, like, what a week, here's the things I've done, like, I'm not a cozy, wintry person at all, and please don't get me started on pumpkin spice lattes and striped tights and hot chocolate. Get away up the road. I would fly to the centre of the sun if I possibly could, but I am excited about Strictly starting, and that will be my tomorrow or maybe next Saturday's post, because that shows people me. AI can't write that. And I can use AI for all my business sales posts, buy this program, buy this thing, do this thing. That's all fine-ish to a point. But also you need to add in you. And you're absolutely right. And everybody gets offended and says, I just use it to help me. That's fine, but you need to go back in and edit so it sounds like a person. Ideally, that person is you.
Check it as well, because it makes mistakes.
Check it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not knocking it. It's brilliant. Like, I've just, my course, it wrote my outline for me, but the content is me, because it told me, here's an outline, here's some of the things you might want. It created an absolutely brilliant checklist and tracker for me last night, things I don't do, but I know I probably should. So I'm putting them in the course so that my other people can do them. Do as I do, not as I say. It's brilliant, but it can't write the paragraph on AI, that I said. We all use it. Here's your tells. Edit it. It can't write that. It can't write my ideas. It can't write, I know you, here's your business. Voice noted some of the girls I know who are about to launch something the other day, not because I sat and used, just I've been thinking about them and my brain had gone into a couple of ideas for them, and they're both like, that's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I can't do that because I'm a human being and I know what a human being wants and needs.
Yeah, exactly. I was at a talk this week actually for women in business, and it was fantastic. We were talking about resources that are available to us, and they were saying, and I've heard this before as well, but it's really great to hear that these very successful women in business, some investors, founders, they were saying, we don't need to fear AI. It's not going to take our job, but somebody who's using AI will, but they have to use it well. A person who understands the limitations, uses it with their own personality to create something that is better than what you can put out there. That kind of thing is a threat. That is a risk to your job. So learn how to use it, but don't over rely on it. 100%. And I think that also as well, your voice is very unique or distinct, in my opinion, because you've got like compassion and love for the people that you're talking to, but you've also got a lot of tough love for the people that you're talking to. And that's a very Scottish thing that I miss from living in Scotland. This direct kind of advice coming from a place of care and love, but it's like, you're not messing around. I'm not going to tell you any lies. No. This is what you need.
And I say it all the time, and it's funny because my boyfriend now says it as well. I'll stop you there. Someone said it to me on a call the other day, and she's like, yeah, you either like selling or you don't. And I was like, oh, hold my jacket. I was like, I'll stop you right there. No, that's not like, no, we're not othering that. We're not making that an about, it's okay for her thing. We're not doing that. It's not true. It's a skill you can learn. Go start. I'm challenging you to do it and tell me what happens. I promise it's nothing bad. And she came back and went, someone bought something. I was like, oh yeah, they will. Yeah.
They're reluctant to tell you. It means they were wrong all along.
It's almost as if it works. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's really true. There's a real, and I went on a call the other day in one of the flexible working groups, which is brilliant. But I thought they were going to get the forks out for me because I was like, no, you can't just apply for that because you're up against someone who's already doing it. You can apply, but you won't get it. And why would you do that and waste your time and energy? And I said at the end, I say this with so much love. I want you to have an amazing job. I love what I do. And they all said, well, in the comments, you can clearly tell that you love what you do. I love what I do. I'm super passionate. It gets me out of bed every single morning to really help. And I love nothing more than hearing I've got a job, I've got an opportunity. It's just the best boost in the world, Lorraine. But to do that, I have to be truthful. I can't say you can do anything, you can do it, because it's wishy-washy. And I've actually had folk come to me and say, I had a coach before and they were nice, but it was all, everything's good. And I was like, it's good, but it's not going to get you a job in this market. She's like, oh yeah. And she signed on the dotted line there, and then she went, this is exactly what I need. I need some challenge.
What you need.
It's what I need. I don't necessarily want it. And that's why I've had coaching before where it's been like, but I knew that I needed that stretch. I don't want someone to tell me how wonderful I am. My friends and family can do that, thanks. I don't need to pay money for it.
Yeah, quite right. I have this quite often as well. I'll have an English student come and say, I really need to learn English. I need to XYZ. And then we spend time distilling the goals together. Okay, you say you need XYZ, but what does that mean to you? As you were saying, clarity and really understanding what they really want to achieve at the end of the day. So we've done this work. We've then broken it down into individual achievable milestones. That's great. They know what to do. They know how to do it. Then comes the part where they need to actually start doing it. And all of a sudden the excuses start coming in. And I say to them, is that a genuine reason? Or are you now facing the point where you've done everything you need and I've given you all the advice that you need, but it's the putting the work in? If you're trying to avoid that, this is why, as you said before, you've been learning English for years and years and years and you've never really got anywhere. This is why you come to someone who is going to hold your hand, be kind, give you what you need, give you the structure, but not be like, oh, it's okay, no problem, because that's why you're stuck in that position.
Yeah, clear is kind. It's a radical candor thing. Clear is kind and kind is clear. And it's what I hate so much about so many aspects of the recruitment market, Lorraine, where people say, if you don't fit all of it, apply anyway so that we can put it in the bin. Or, it's just a chat. And then my person turns up in their hoodie and says, oh, I didn't get it. And I'm like, no, it's never just a chat. So, I always say it's never an informal. You have to still throw in 3 good results and a few competencies, and they're like, well, they said it was a chat. No, it's never a chat. It's this wishy-washy, woolly, yay, just apply. And actually, like, no, don't apply. Let's be really clear and stop wasting people's time so that people apply when they're really ready,
Right, one thing I wanted to ask you about, Laurie, is the significance, the importance of mindset, whether that's mindset shifting or recognizing a harmful mindset that you've had maybe for a while. And this is where tough love comes in a little bit as well. It's something that I try and teach our students as well at Intrepid English. Growth mindset. It's this sense of who you are now isn't necessarily fixed. You have an opportunity to grow, to learn from others, be happy for their success, and to develop, yourself over time. Can you tell me, I know that mindset is something that's really integral to your job and your business. How do you help people to reframe a mindset they might not even know that they have that's holding them back?
Yeah, it's kindly calling it out. My biggest one, Lorraine, is when people come on calls with me is they'll say, I'm not having any luck. So I always say, I'll stop you there. You said luck. I'll tell you now, there's great news. It's not luck. Luck is the national lottery. Luck is the magic finger of fate. Luck is, we have no influence over it. We just have to sit and wait for someone to choose us or not. The great news is it's not luck. The bad news is that means we have to change something that we're doing. And what I always say is I'll be able to tell within 30 seconds of seeing your CV what's not landing, but it's never luck. So there's definitely that thing is about, I hear that the most repeatedly, and it's saying to them, look, it's common parlance. It's out there in the world. It's the job market's terrible. It's, if you choose to listen and believe that there's nothing you can do and change, actually, I'm all about flipping that and saying this is about radical responsibility. You get to use LinkedIn. You get to message 5 of your network today and another 5 next week, and then go back to the original, and it's not comfy. Like we said earlier, it's really uncomfortable, but this is what works. So part of it with me is trust me and trust the process. And I know there's always a bit in the process when they don't trust me and they don't trust the process. And it's the bit before they get the job. We know from how many years in business, the people who stay and stick, there's something really, really powerful about not going away.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's what differentiates people with success with people who are, who give up. But it's just consistency. It's just trying again and again and trying it differently. Have a look at what's worked and then, maybe adjust a little bit. Talk to the experts. Don't try and do it all by yourself, but just keep doing it. That's what sets you apart from people who have given up early because it hasn't worked out the first time. Or maybe the second, just keep trying again, and you'll find your feet. You'll find the solution, and keep learning all the time. I think, and this is another thing that came up at this event this week with female business owners and investors here in Riyadh. There was a venture capitalist there, and she was saying that 25 years ago she got into this business. It was a career change for her. She was a teacher before, and you can imagine how much resistance she had as someone who was relatively unknown coming into venture capital, trying to become an investor as a former teacher in a career shift. It was really tough for her, but she kept going, she kept learning, she kept moving forward. Now she can sit in a room full of women, aspiring founders and people who want to learn how it's done, and aspiring investors as well, and say, well, she's done it. Look at her, she's done it. And it wasn't easy, but she kept going, she kept learning, she kept building her network. And now look where she is. That's the difference. It's consistency and it's resilience as well.
Yeah, that's the differentiator. And just one more thing on that is I definitely think, and I've seen a bit more talk about this recently, is one of the things that sets apart, successful folks is the speed of their decision making. Like they decide to do something and they just do it. It's not that they're not scared. And I've talked about this investing. I invest a huge amount, Lorraine, in programs and things to help me because I don't know everything. I didn't learn this stuff at school, as I said. So I spent a lot of money on the business and investing and learning. It never feels safe. It never feels okay. It never feels like, yay, woohoo, can't wait to spend loads of money. But I do it because I know that they know more than I do and they can help me and they can help me to get there quicker. There's something about speed of decision. And I do this a lot. People say to me, you're really good at that. And it's never, ever comfy. I remember the first time I spent £3,000 on a programme. And honestly, I thought, right, I'll break it down. I'll pay back £500 a month. The next 6 months, I wrote it on my fridge and I drew little squares. And I made £6,200 that month because I did it. And I saw that it was that quick action. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's that I'm going to make this decision, and whatever happens in this space, I will get something out of it, whether I'll make a pal or whether I'll learn lots or whether I'll learn how not to do something. I mean, that's not ideal, but how you always pick bits. I invested 2 years ago with a coach, I think. And she said, I don't do one-to-one very often. So I messaged her and I said, hold one, I'm just opening a 0% interest credit card. And she messaged back and went, whoa, no pressure. And I said, absolutely none on you. It's on me. The pressure's on me to learn from you. You've got everything I need to take. It's about what I take from you. So give me 5, let me do this application. It went through and I was like, yep, that's it. I'm going to pay. And when I go into a space, I give it my 100% because paid and I want to get out of it. So it's about that decision making. And so many folk are waffling around saying for years, oh, I really want to learn it, but they don't actually press the button, make the decision, book, and they could be so much further ahead. And I think in business and in life, it's not that it's not scary, it's just that we decide to make a decision. We say, right, I'm going to do something about this and make it happen. And you can always change things down the line, but quick decision making is definitely an indicator of success for me too.
100%. In my experience, the quick decision making can only come, I believe, from the more times we fail and then succeed, the greater our trust in ourselves of learning how to do it. And that helps you to make decisions quicker later on down the line. So in that sense, failing is a gift because it will help you to become a better decision maker later, I think.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, if you are on Instagram and all those nice friendly platforms, getting your likes and your love, but you know you need to be on LinkedIn, but you've been avoiding it, I have a lovely session for you called Beyond the Gram, or if it's career help you need, let's get bold.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Laurie. It was lovely to see you. Thanks so much.
And you, thank you.